Hello and good evening. I have kept getting comments about this, so I thought I would just come on here and discuss this. Something I've discussed before. This is not a new thing. We have this idea that the multitude that no man can number in Revelation 7 is Trib saints. And I believe this comes from the verse that says, "These are they which came out of great tribulation, have washed their robes and made them white in the blood of the Lamb." Okay. To come out of does not mean that they died in. It means they were kept out of. This is the culmination of the promise made by Jesus in Revelation 3:10. Because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from the hour of temptation, which shall come upon the whole world to try them that dwell upon the earth. I did a video earlier, a PowerPoint presentation about this specific topic. There is a huge misconception that this multitude that no man can number is Trib saints, that this innumerable amount of people is going to be saved during the 70th week. Conditions on earth are easy comparatively right now, and people are not choosing for Christ. When they are thrown into survival mode, why would we ever think that the first thing they would think about is someone other than themselves and their own survival? That's not how that works. You see in Revelation a progression from abject fear to apathy, to anger, to hatred and blasphemy. Does that indicate a softening of hearts at all, or a hardening of hearts? So for us to have this wild imagining that this uncountable number of people is just going to decide to be saved when the 70th week starts, because that's right after the seals were open. So the inference there is that these people get saved immediately after the start of the 70th week, and in such a large mass that you can't count it. That is a wild imagining, and there would be no reason to speculate that that would be true. The more important part that requires no speculation is that in the book of Revelation, in the whole entire book, if someone dies, it specifically tells you they died. Every single group of people that is going to die, you are told they die. Revelation 6, the martyrs, they're all going to die. It tells you, comes right out and tells you they're going to die. The two witnesses comes right out and tells you they're going to die. Those who get victory over the beast, over his image, over the number of his name, comes right out and tells you they're going to die. And the people in Armageddon comes right out and tells you they're going to die. Every single group in heaven is accounted for through death, except for the multitude that no man can number in the book of Revelation. You are never once told, pertaining to that group and that passage, that they die. And that's because not all of them are going to, but they shall all be changed, which is why in the last verse of that chapter, you see them in glorified bodies. That is what it means when it says, God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes. That means that you have glorified beings who have no memory of a sin nature in a body that has been changed into immortal, incorruptible. Is literally what that means. So in Revelation 7, there is literally only one group in the throne room to who that could apply, and that is the redeemed church. The multitude that no man can number is the redeemed sons of Abraham through the spiritual seed who is Christ. And they are there on day one, having been separated. The righteous kept out of, the unrighteous cast into the 70th week. And that's literally what it's telling you. They've come out of or been kept out of. Per the promise Jesus made in Revelation 3:10, because thou hast kept the word of my patience, I also will keep thee from. The seals are opened. The great day of his wrath is come. In Matthew 24, he says, all these are the beginning of sorrows. In 1 Thessalonians, he said, when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them, as travail upon a woman with child, they shall not escape. Which is what it just ended the previous chapter, Revelation 6, by saying. They're trying to escape by hiding, and they can't. The 70th week has started. And when the 70th week is started, by the opening of the seals, there's two groups that can stand. One sealed on earth for the express purpose of ministry. The other redeemed and taken to heaven. And you're seeing them in the heavenly throne room, which is why it's at the beginning, right after it is declared that all these things have started. which is, again, Matthew 24:8 is after the opening of the first 6 seals. All these are the beginning of sorrows, which is what you see in Revelation. So this group in heaven is not Trib saints. There's no reasonable expectation that we should have, and to be honest, no comfort that we should gain over the fact that some unimaginable number of people is just going to automatically decide to be saved amidst what is the beginning of the hardest time period ever, when they're thrown into survival mode in the worst way, when they couldn't do that when it's easy. Survival mode is a base instinct which requires you to care only about your own safety from moment to moment to moment. You cannot, in that mode, think about your future. You are only concerned with staying alive and getting what you need in that moment. We are told that as a result of the opening of Seal 2, which is taking peace from the earth, Seal 3, which is famine, and Seal 4, which is death by pestilence and plague, that 25% of the world is going to die. And they're going to die in an unsaved state, which is why it says death and hell followed after. Hades is the abode of departed spirits. That is where people who don't believe in Christ go to await resurrection at the second death, the great white throne, and be cast into the lake of fire. That right there should tell you that there's no reasonable expectation that some unimaginable number of people is going to come to Christ. When you're told that 25% of the world is going to die in an unsaved state from the beginning of the 70th week, the implications of seals 2, 3, and 4. And that's not to talk about the third that dies as a result of trumpet 6. And all the people that, that get victory over the beast, midpoint and beyond, they're seen in heaven. But those other people are going to die in an unsafe state. So I understand wishful thinking and hopefulness. And especially for those of us who have unsaved brethren, we hope that they come to Christ when the 70th week starts so that they can be, resurrected to rule and reign with us if they don't make it through to the end. But to say that this multitude that no man can number is Trib saints is not accurate. These people are being shown in the throne room serving God, which is the antithesis of what those who die as martyrs under Seal 5 are told. They're told to rest a little season. It does not involve work. The people in the throne room in glorified bodies are doing work. They are serving God before his throne day and night. Well, people say, but he said, we'll be priests, or we'll be kings and priests unto our God. Yeah, we'll reign on earth, which is why in Revelation 4, people say the elders represent the church. Yeah, they absolutely do. But are you going to, for a second, think that Jesus, who is showing John all of these things in the book of Revelation, isn't going to show you there? People infer that the rapture happened because of the elders. If that is true, and the whole church is not pictured anywhere in Revelation, how do you feel secure that you're there? Because the elders are a representative portion? What other group in heaven do you only know that's there because of a representative portion? None. And we are no different. We are shown in heaven not by a representative portion, but by the whole group. We're not being left out or left up to chance to say, oh, the elders are there, so we must be there too. No, the elders are there and we are there also. The martyrs, you're told that whole group is going to be, their souls under the altar. Rest a little season until the full number comes in. Okay, the 144,000, the whole group, shown on heavenly Mount Zion, Revelation 14. Those who got victory over the beast, over his image, over the number of his name, whole group, shown in Revelation 15. If anyone is suggesting that the whole church is not shown in heaven, that you're only guessing that you're there because you see the elders, you would literally be the exception. The whole group is shown to tell you that we're all there, not just by a representative portion, not just by the elders. The elders and the whole group is in Revelation 7. We're not some kind of special exception to that. And you know that they're not the martyrs because the martyrs will not be in glorified bodies until the first resurrection, which is specifically for them, which is after Armageddon, after Jesus has returned to earth. Then they will be resurrected to share and rule, to share the reign with Christ for 1,000 years. But these people are priests. They don't have crowns, and they wouldn't, because they're going to reign on earth, not in heaven. Which is why you see the elders casting their crowns before the throne, because they're not reigning in heaven. Even though they have been made kings and priests unto God, they're going to reign on earth. So they don't need their crowns yet. They're giving them to the one who does reign in heaven, which is God on the throne. So I appreciate that there are differences of opinion. That's cool. I'm not trying to tell anybody what to think. But Revelation 7's multitude that no man can number is not trib saints. It is the redeemed church. And we have half a dozen ways of knowing that within the text from Revelation 7, 9 through 17. If you have any further questions or comments, let me know. But I did do a PowerPoint earlier that if you guys have other questions, you can check out. Otherwise, have a good night.